Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the VindeeCritic, and what you're seeing in the background right now is my mascot. It's a thingamajig named Vindy that I made a few years ago, but that's what inspired my name. But that we're not here to talk about the picture, but you will see him again later. We're here to talk about why I started a channel. There are several reasons. First off, I just want to say that I'm a fan of movies, so that's the first reason I'm starting a movie review channel. And the second thing is, I sit here every day and I see what all these movie critics say about movies, and sometimes I'm like, yes, you're a genius. Other times I think, no, you're crazy, you're crazy. Either way, I'm a huge fan of cinema, and I have a strong opinion on, certain movies and stuff, and I feel like my opinion deserves to be heard. And another thing is, I just thought it would be a really good time to start, because, we have movies that are coming out soon that look really good, but we also have movies that came out in the past year that are considered to be, fairly decent. And I'd like to give my opinion on them because I feel it is my duty to you to provide you with some movie news. And before we keep going, I'm gonna have to apologize about my mic. This is my first time using it for a computer, something like this. So you may have a really tough time hearing me. You may have a very hard time trying not to go deaf from hearing me. I'm not sure how it's working out, but I'll adjust as videos progress. So I actually had the idea of criticizing movies on YouTube for a good while, ever since I really got really big into making YouTube videos a couple of years ago. But I mostly stuck to video games, but I'm going to start doing movies now because I'm starting to move further towards that path. And what I did in the past few months was I got onto IMDb and I rated a lot of different movies, probably about 200 or 300, and those are just the ones I could find off the top of them, just from searching the categories. And I gave them all a rating, and I'm just gonna go through. I'm just gonna randomly pick a movie, and that's gonna be the one that I review. I'll probably do about one a week, maybe more, but if I'm busy, I'll have to hold off, of course. But that's my plan. As you can tell, this is kind of on the fly off the top of my head. My reviews won't necessarily be like this, but this is just an introduction video, and I'm just wanting to get this out of the way to start reviewing stuff. There's several genres of movies I like more than most. First off, I'm a fan of movies in general, so I'll watch any kind of movie thrown at me. I don't watch Twilight or chick flicks or anything like that, but anything serious I'll watch. I'm a big fan of action movies. First off, trust me, I'm not gonna review like a 30s drama and say, no, this needs explosions in. I'm not going to do anything like that. It's just, if I'm going to sit down on a normal basis, I like to watch action movies. I've also gotten into comic book movies lately. I'm not into comics themselves, but I think comic book movies are starting to become the really big thing. If you disagree, please leave a comment and I'll argue with you. But they're starting to become the biggest movie genre, I guess you could say, fastest growing. And I think they're really good. I'm not going to get into why. I'll get into that, later on. I don't want to repeat myself in a lot of other videos, so I'm trying not to talk too much about it. As far as movie reviews go, they're going to change. Where I think it's Roger Ebert that does this too. He rates movies compared to the genre. Like, he doesn't compare, Citizen Kane to, I don't know, Spider-Man, because compared to Citizen Kane, most things are going to be really bad. So I compare Spider-Man to a Batman movie. I compare it to other comic book movies. So, you see what I'm saying? So I rate movies in regards to other alternatives. I'm not gonna, I don't compare movies to the entire spectrum, usually. But, so that's how I rate things, usually. Let me see. What else to talk about? When I review movies, especially these are, the really big classic movies. My favorite kind of movie, usually, if it's not something that's just popcorn movie like action movies, it's something that means more than what's on the surface. I guess a good example in comic book movie form would be The Dark Knight. And I'm trying to relate this to casual moviegoers. If I don't want to talk about a movie that's, only for hardcore people that most people haven't seen. Most people have seen The Dark Knight. On the surface, The Dark Knight is a comic book movie that has a lot of action. It's a lot of fun. But if you dig a little deeper, it's about, again, chaos and anarchy, and how thoughts can corrupt you, and how corruption occurs in society, and how sometimes doing the right thing or actually doing the wrong thing for the good of a whole is better than doing the right thing that would hurt a lot of people. And there's just a lot of things going on in The Dark Knight. Those are just a few, and there are a lot of big themes that happen in The Dark Knight, which I will cover. My Dark Knight review could be 2 hours, really, if I really wanted it to be, but I'm wondering if that really made sense to you guys. So, in essence, I like movies that have underlying themes and tones and, are layered, I guess you could say. Those are as far as, like, the classic movies go, those are my favorite. And, I guess that's about it, but, expect a good amount of reviews for the next few weeks, because there are a lot of really good movies coming out, and also for those movies, there are movies I have to review for them. Example being Die Hard. Ooh, I want Die Hard to come out right now. Let me think. It's Christmas, so I'll be reviewing a lot of Christmas movies, so that'll be nice. And there are also going to be some movies on the side that I'll be reviewing, so I hope you guys are looking forward to that too. Now, I need to point out that my rating system is pretty weird, to say the least, and it's probably going to confuse a lot of people, but it's just how I feel about a movie. And when I said I'm limiting movies to their category or genre, that's not for every little thing. Like, if a movie's a bad movie, then I'm gonna call it for what it is. I don't care if the genre is god awful. I'm calling all the movies in the genre bad. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that makes more sense. But my rating scale will be on a 1 to 10 rating. For example, movies like Lord of the Rings will get a 10. Star Wars, I don't know exactly. It'll be middle of the way, probably leaning lower. Those are the new ones, by the way. The old ones are up there with Lord of the Rings. And, anyway, and probably, I don't know, Batman and Robin will get a bad score. Actually, I don't even know if Batman and Robin counts for this review scale. It probably is a little lower than 0. But, that's how that works. Again, I made this on the fly, so I don't have a script. I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe my rating system. It's just, there are a lot of mental factors involved with it. I'm not just going to say, compared to Star Wars, Back to the Future is awesome, or anything. I compare it to whether it's a good movie or not. I compare it to the genre. I compare it to, a lot of different factors, just, flat out scale. But I try not to compare other movies in one genre to another movie too much, if that makes sense. Then there's also, the topic of whether you should compare a movie to the book it's based off, or vice versa. And it gets really in-depth, but you guys may get confused with how I rate movies initially, but hopefully I'll be able to pick it up and show you. But when I was rating movies on IMDb, I noticed that I hardly ever give 9s. And I'm going to have to probably go through it before I start making a ton of reviews and correct these, because I have a lot of 10s. And that's not good, because for me, I feel like a 10 should be given to a movie that is perfect. But at the same time, I also feel like if you get to a 9, give them a 10. They got that close. So I feel like I gave a lot of movies pity 10s, which I'll have to go and fix. But I'm not sure. And there are a lot of times I feel like I contradict myself in my ratings, so I'm going to have to really, I'm going to have to organize myself before I go out and start reviewing a ton of these. But I thought about what I'm going to do for my first review, and it's going to be a special one. It's not going to be a typical review, but you guys will see in the next episode or review or whatever you want to call it. Next video, there you go. See you then.